Wayne TV.
Today, giving up junk food love. Dr. Rosenfeld with a briefcase that could save your life. Help for drug-addicted children, and our woman of the hour, the Colbys, Emma Samms. I hope you've had a nice day so far. Today's woman of the hour has had plenty of practice being married to a wonderful, handsome man. Every week, you see, she gets to play Fallon opposite John James and the Colbys. Now her life is about to imitate her art. Would you please welcome our woman of the hour, the soon-to-be-married Emma Samms. Well, you look sufficiently happy, or should I say abundantly happy?
Abundantly. Unfortunately, there has been one problem. We were going to get married at Christmas, but we found out that to get married in England, you have to be a resident there for at least 20 days in advance. And so
your shooting schedule wouldn't permit
When I asked them, how does 20 days sound for Christmas, of course, it's impossible.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to postpone it till the hiatus.
Tell us a little bit about your intended.
Well, he's listening. No, he's 32. He's a very, very, very wonderful man. He's very sensitive and very understanding of my crazy career.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very funny. And he's a musician. He plays music very well.
What type of business is he in?
He owns a catering business.
Mm-hmm.
And so he gets to bring home great leftovers.
What was it that attracted you? Where'd you meet him? And were there sparks, so-called sparks, at the initial meeting?
No.
What were the circumstances?
He was a friend of my publicist, Claudia Cran. And we all go ice skating once a week. That's one of the ways that I exercise. It's actually more sociable than exercise. And so she brought him one week. And so I saw him once a week for months. And we became friends through that. And then we saw each other as friends a little bit outside of ice skating, but just as friends. And then gradually, once we got to know each other, that's how the attraction built. Well, it's funny because I didn't even realize that he was as good looking as he is until people started saying, oh, yes, he's really attractive. And I thought, oh, that's funny because I
you were
hadn't
looking
thought
at him
about that.
Yeah, well, let's see how good looking he is. Do you want to introduce him?
No, you introduce
Why?
me. Well, I might say something wrong and then I'll get into trouble.
I don't think so. You've done beautifully up till now. All right. His name is what, David
Corwin.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, David Corwin. Yeah, my gosh. Here we figured this whole thing out that we were going to meet him over here, and I was looking at you, and I thought to myself, he ought to have a letter sweater on. You know what that is?
Oh, yes.
I mean, you're a very young 32, sir.
These are V's.
He's got some gray in his hair.
Does
if
he?
you look closer.
Yeah. I mean, what does it feel like to be told that you weren't thought of as attractive until suddenly one day someone said, you know, he is kind of attractive?
Well, that's the same way I felt about Emma.
Fat chance, David.
Without makeup and with her hair pulled back and wearing her little skating outfits. She doesn't look very glamorous.
You mean she doesn't get all cleaned up and go to town makeup on for ice skating?
No.
Oh, yeah. Wonderful. Well, it's obviously working for both of you. We can't be happier for you.
Thank you.
You're going to cook for us. This is one of the, I guess, byproducts of being in the catering business, but I understand you're a little more of an executive now than a chef. What are you going to fix for us today?
Well, we're going to make quesadillas, which is something that we do at parties, but anybody can do at home.
All right.
And we can
I have
throw in
no
some aprons
idea.
here.
Oh, yes, we put aprons on.
What's
I have no idea how to make
aprons on.
these.
This could get dangerous, huh? All right. What does your mom think of all of this, Emma?
The cooking? Well, she's
No, not the cooking. David. Huh? What do you think of it?
Oh, she approved.
Does she really?
She was one of the people who said, oh, he's very attractive.
Oh. Well, let's find out. Mom, is that true? This is Madeline Samuelson, Emma's mom. Take a bow, Madeline. Well, she thinks it's okay. Gee, she's an attractive woman.
Isn't she?
Yeah, I can see where it comes
You wouldn't
from.
believe 5 kids.
5.
She weighs 90 pounds.
Now, was your mom a dancer?
Yes.
Also, that's
She
where
was a
you
ballet
started
dancer.
dancing. Yeah. Well,
Yes.
it's obvious she's kept the discipline. You look wonderful. All right, let's get on with the quesadillas.
Very easy to make. All you need, to start out with, there's some tortillas, flour tortillas. We're going to use this large size here. And take a frying pan and put a little bit of, we're using butter, but you can use margarine. And it sounds good. And we're going to get it over about a medium flame because we do want it to get kind of crispy and golden brown on the bottom.
Okay. Go ahead. Sorry. I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions while you're doing it.
Our first layer is going to be cheese. It works as like a kind of a glue to keep everything together in there.
What type of cheese is that?
You can use, we're using raw cheddar here. You can use just about any type of cheese. This whole thing is designed to use essentially leftovers. It can be done with just about anything in the house. This is cheddar cheese. You can use jalapeno cheese. You can use really any type of cheese that you have.
All right. Next step?
Today we're using shrimp, which has been marinated in a little bit of lime juice and cilantro, but you can, again, use anything.
Cilantro. I like cilantro.
Yeah, it's also known as coriander for those that don't have fresh cilantro.
So you put the shrimp in there. You nervous about going to London, England, getting married? Huh?
He's nervous
Gonna be a little
about the
out
whole
of
thing.
Oh, is he? Huh?
Of course.
Yeah, it really
It's a first for you, huh?
It hasn't, yes, it is.
Yeah.
Of course. It hasn't really sunk in yet. We're going to use some Ortega chilies here.
Are they hot ones?
They're not too hot, no. Some chopped black olives.
This is starting to look awful good.
It is good. Again, you can be very creative with this, and you can use just about anything that can be found in any kitchen.
Now, why isn't it burning? If that were me doing it, it would be black on the underneath.
Well, we have it right now over a low temperature. And also the butter is...
But you want it to be real crisp, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
And also you want it to go long enough so that everything melts in there.
Exactly.
Okay, and you've got now some homemade salsa,
yeah,
right?
some homemade salsa. You can use, again, the canned stuff, but we're going to use the fresh stuff here.
Okay, David, I'll ask you just to speed it up a little bit.
Okay, well, then we'll put it over high flame.
Good. And while David's doing that, let me remind you that this recipe is included in this month's edition of the Hour Magazine. If you'd like copies, simply write to Volume 69, Hour Magazine, P.O. Box 4400, Hollywood, California, 90078. Include $1 to cover postage and handling and allow 4 to 6 weeks for delivery.
Just cut it up into hors d'oeuvre-sized pieces.
All right, well, we have some cut up over here. I'm going to try one. Would you like one, Emma?
Yes. I've tasted this before.
Have you?
Yes.
All right, there you go. We're going to need a couple of napkins.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, David, you want a piece?
Sure.
Okay. There for you.
I'm not just saying that.
Oops. Okay.
Thank you.
Ooh, that's scrumptious. That's wonderful. We'll take a short break and be right back.
The search is over. At Super Value, Super Sale 3 is going on now. Fact. Buy Palmolive Liquid, Fresh Start Detergent, and 4 bars of Irish Spring and get $3 back. They found Super Sale 3. Yes. Look in your circular. The facts speak for themselves.
I'm very happy with the price I paid for these glasses. I'm very content. I'll go back again.
I always like a bargain, and I think they're a great bargain. Price-wise, best ever.
Very, very competitive.
Oh, golly, you just can't beat the prices. The prices are terrific. I was really happy with the price I paid for these glasses.
Cunningham Optical. Price-wise, best ever.
Like I said, you can't beat it.
It's here, the carpet sale event of a lifetime. Clark & Mitchell, one of the largest carpet retailers in the country, has joined together with Walter Carpet Mills, one of the nation's finest manufacturers, to bring you the Carpet Super Sale. All carpet, including beautiful California-look carpets with Stainmaster, are on sale at the lowest prices in the country, guaranteed. Over 300,000 yards of carpet, every color, texture, and style imaginable, plus free padding with carpet purchase, and no payment due until April 1987. Walter California-look carpets and the Carpet Super Sale at all Clark & Mitchell locations.
Here. The all-new Toyota Tercel, the new look of economy. The all-new Toyota FX16, the new look of performance. All-new Toyota Camry, the new look of room and comfort. Supras, Corollas, Celicas, MR2s, they're all here. Trucks, the biggest selection of the best-selling compacts. Cargo vans and passenger vans, too. Come and see the new 1987 Toyotas. They're here, but they won't last long.
We're still discussing Anaheim chilies. I don't know. Maybe it comes from Anaheim.
I didn't think it was...
David doesn't know either, by the way, because I...
Oh, really?
I ask you. Now, on the subject of food, if you were to choose a wrapper for David, what would it be? I mean, a candy bar, a piece of fruit, or whatever. What would he be?
He likes health food, but...
Does he?
Yes, he's really into health food, but I personally like sweet things. And I think he's very sweet, and he's my favorite. My favorite food is probably carrot cakes, I'd say.
Carrot cake. We may be in for trouble here, because in Dr. Sonia Friedman's latest book, she tells women how to break, I don't know if carrot...
It's not junk food.
It's not junk food. How to break the junk food habit when it comes to the men in their life. The book is called A Hero is More Than Just a Sandwich, How to Give Up Junk Food Love and Find a Naturally Sweet Man. And here to tell us all how to cultivate that taste in men is psychotherapist and author of Smart Cookies Don't Crumble and Men Are Just Desserts, Dr. Sonia Friedman. Now, what I want to know...
24 carrots, 14 carrots,
I know. But now, come on, honestly. When are you going to get into entrees or at least some hot appetizers?
Well, you know, this has been a philosophy that has evolved, and they're really cookbooks for a healthy living and a happy heart. And this one specifically is the book that I wish that my mother might have given me. I hope it's the message that I gave to my daughter, and that is that a hero is more than a sandwich. A hero is a guy who has a heart. And sometimes what women do, quite frankly, is that they say they want one thing, but they really want something else. They say they want a nice guy, but he should have $1 million a year in salary, drive a Porsche or a BMW, make sure that he has a gold charge account and has a lifestyle that is wonderful. And if somewhere in there he's nice, that's terrific. But I advise my daughter, and certainly the women of the world, that if you want a really nice guy and he has money, that's very nice. But if you just want a guy who has money and he happens to be nice, you got lucky, honey. You didn't have anything to do with that. That gets you into trouble.
I remember somebody teaching a class on how to get a man. They said, don't look at anybody unless he's got a 450, one of those little
Well, that's
sports
okay
cars.
as long as you're willing to live with the other part of the sentence. But women aren't. Women say, I want a man who shows leadership, but I don't want a man who's going to dominate and control me. I want a man who knows how to dress and is a little flashy and smooth, but I don't want a man so slippery that every other woman will do. Now, I want a man who won't make decisions because I want to take control. Well, will you decide where we're going Saturday night for a change? I mean, I've heard all of the lines. You see, with every characteristic, in fact, what's the characteristic you like most in your fiancé? Just one. If you can give me the cardinal trait that you go for, what would it be, Emma?
His sensitivity.
Okay, good answer. That's a really good answer. But with that sensitivity may come a moment where you may want him to be stronger. Only because we have that.
That is why he's perfect, because you're right. To find the level of sensitivity yet strength is a very difficult balance. If they're understanding enough, maybe they're too understanding and they allow you to do whatever you want. Nobody wants that. They want to have just rules and areas.
If you're looking for balance, that's wonderful, and you'll get it. But what I find is that in a little survey I did of women, 80% of women either wanted a man who would lead and dominate or control, or was really kind of snazzy and charismatic. Only one wanted a man who wore stripes and plaids and had a heart of gold. Now, very quickly, you can change the stripes and plaids and you can teach him what to wear and how to dress. But if he's got a void where his heart should be, you're not going to do an emotional heart transplant.
This must all go back to Prince Charming. I mean, riding off through the meadow from the castle and so forth.
Yes, and most of the women who wait for the prince end up just shoveling after the horse.
I know. But do they assume that with the leadership and the riches, if you will, all of the trappings, the wrappers, on people that they're going to get the other things? And why can't they make the distinction between good and bad junk food, if you will?
Okay, I'll tell you something that may be amazing, but I think that the things that are so strong and wonderful about us as women, and I'm sure you know this, Emma, is that our strengths and weaknesses are intertwined. Mm-hmm. It is because we are soft and giving and caretaking and loving that sometimes we can be exploited. And unless our mothers gave us a message when we were young about this is love, love is for your sake. Love brings out the best in you, and the relationship brings out the best in each other. Unless you had a mom who told you that, you're not going to understand that when someone says, this is love, as they may be abusive or leaving you or going to another, now you stay right here until I get back. That's love. I mean, this is going to hurt me a lot more than it's going to hurt you. Those lines. We don't really know what love is. Someone can give us spoonfuls of things that are almost lethal. It's poison, but they call it love. And we believe the label because we have to go back, perhaps, finding our fatal flaw and understanding how not to do it again the wrong way.
Which brings up the question of, once you're in the relationship, it doesn't take an Einstein to figure out that your gut instinct is telling you something. This is not right. Yet women will lay in bed or lie in bed night after night and say, this is killing me. I've got to get out. Yet I suppose they think, well, maybe he'll change, or do they become addicted to this?
Well, I think people can change. You know, most of the women I know want to save their relationships. They are so resistant when you suggest to them that if they can't tolerate the man as he is, that they get out. And so what I'd like to do is to take the characteristics of the 7, salty, sour 7, and turn to the page that you think represents the cardinal trait that is the one that is driving you wild. Okay. Let him read it and say to him, do you think you know anybody in these pages? Is that something I've said to you? Can we talk about this to make it a little better?
You said the traits. What are a few of them?
Well, there's the boss, and he's the man who's very commanding and has leadership, and you always know him because he insists upon having control over everything. And then there's the shark, totally spineless, but very smooth and slippery. And then there's the real hero. And I brought a real hero because the real hero, and this is so important to remember, he's got a heart. And don't ever trade the guy with a heart. Lots of good guys out there for one of the slippery, sour 7.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Enjoy it.
Always a pleasure to have you with us.
I'm Dr. Rosenfeld, and right after this, I'll tell you about and show you a remarkable new device that may actually save your life.
When I hit the big 5-0, I figured, well, that's it, honey. Time to buy the sensible shoes and the blue hair rinse. Then I glanced in the mirror, and I looked good. Besides, surrendering is not my style, so I treated myself to 2 weeks at Club Caramba. That's where I met Roger. He thinks I'm 38. He isn't dumb, either. Oh, a little nearsighted, maybe, but sweet.
Raps, fast food with style. Maybe it's your style.
Hey, I'm Jimmy Pearsall. You know me. Some people say I need a muffler for my mouth. If I did, I'd go to a fair.
Jimmy's right. If you need a new muffler or your exhaust system checked, take your car to Fair Muffler. There's